The dumbest of the dumb managed to go and work as politicians and bureaucrats that run elections in governments in liberal states. That's totally broken. I think we can all agree. But what else is broken? Folks, the Republic is broken. I'm really sorry. The Constitution was the greatest governing document in the history of humankind, but it has had some dreadful failures. I know you don't want to hear that, and I'm really sorry, but I have to break to you. I love the Founding Fathers. Their vision, their bravery, doing what they did, but they never anticipated that such weak, gutless, spineless, visionless people would be elected to serve in our House of Representatives and in the Senate. Why am I so upset about this today? Because, folks, economics is dead. We are on the absolute certain path to bankruptcy as a nation, and nobody seems to care. What am I talking about? The Porculus bill was passed yesterday. Stimulus bill, otherwise, there's no the government doesn't stimulate anything. When are we going to stop with the language? It's not stimulus. I don't care who said it. Mnuchin, some of your favorite Republicans, I don't care. The government doesn't stimulate anything. It's not possible for the government to stimulate anything because anything the government uses financially to stimulate, it has to unstimulate by taking financially from you. We're taking our money to give us our money. So they passed this stimulus bill last night. I would urge the president to veto this disaster because it is loaded with pork and junk that has nothing to do with stimulation. Article in our show notes today. You can always access the show notes or the newsletter. It's the same thing, bongino.com/newsletter. Please subscribe. We get you the best news of the day. Take a little note here. Red State. Senator Ted Cruz is right. Congress labeled the end of the year spending bill COVID relief to cover all the pork. Jennifer Von Lahr, Red State. Read this article. You want to see some gems that were in this stimulus bill? Again, dreaded air quotes. From the Red State piece. This is all supposed to be stimulation. It says, of course, once the text of the bill was available, journalists, pundits, and lay people all delve into its contents and started itemizing all the pork in the bill from both sides of the aisle, claiming it was a COVID stimulus bill or a COVID relief bill. Okay, so let's go through this, Joe. Does this have to do with COVID? The Kennedy Center, $26.4 million. That's a COVID, what the Kennedy Center. No. This Kennedy Center really seems to make it every single time. This Kennedy Center, they have to be, Joe, would you not agree? The most politically connected people in the history of humankind, the Kennedy Center, $26.4 million. That's in the domestic part. The Smithsonian. Every time. Am I reading that correctly? Is that $1 billion? $1 billion for the Smithsonian? Is that right? I'm not. National Art Gallery, $154 million. National Arts and Humanities, $167,000. The Woodrow Wilson Center, $14,000. I'm sure this is a good. What did the COVID? Oh, here, wait. It gets even better. That's just the domestic part. Here's another one. Foreign countries. Egypt, like what is that? 1.3 billion. I'm missing the commas. 700 million for Sudan. Ukraine got money. Israel, Nepal got money too. That's always good. You got to throw that Nepal money in there too. You know, can't do a COVID relief. Nepal. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be some mountain, some peaking to the top of mountains going on. Some Nepalese folks were doing some stimulation for the Sherpas. I don't know what we're doing. I love Sherpas. But does that have anything to do with? Are the Sherpas getting tips for Sherpas? I don't understand what we're doing here. Folks, we don't have this money. That's the problem here. We don't have the money. Has anyone stopped for a moment? And by anyone, I don't mean the conservatives and libertarians who watch my show who are actually smart. I mean the liberals who watch my show because I get your nasty grams. Have you stopped for a moment and ever said to yourself, this is why I just said before that economics is dead and common sense with it? We are on the certain path to bankruptcy. We are $27 trillion in debt as a nation that only produces about $22 trillion in wealth every year. We owe everything we produce in a year and then some, a $5 trillion tip, propina. Has anyone stopped the liberals and said, well, where is all this dinero, dough, money, bread? Where is it coming from? Has anyone stopped it? Well, Rand Paul did. Senator Rand Paul, who's one of the few principled guys left up on Capitol Hill, voted against this porculus disaster and gave a speech that quickly went viral yesterday on the floor. I can't play the whole thing. It's 9.5 minutes long, but I encourage you to listen to the whole thing because it's very good. Here's just a short clip of it where Rand Paul asked a kind of common sense question, right, Joe? Paula Common says, where'd the money come from?
Yeah.
Paula says, that's right. It's common sense, right? I mean, you'd like to know, like if your daughter showed up in your house and she was 16 or 17 yesterday with a suitcase full of $1 trillion, that'd be a lot of suitcases. Your first question would probably be, hey, or like a bearer bond for that. Where'd that dough come from? So Rand Paul asked this on the House floor yesterday. Check this clip out. This is very, very good.
This bill is free money for everyone. Proponents don't care if you're fully employed or own your own house or own your own business. Free money for everyone, they cry. And yet, if free money were the answer, if money really grew on trees, why not give more free money? Why not give it out all the time? Why stop at $600 a person? Why not $1,000? Why not $2,000? Maybe these new free money Republicans should join the Everybody Gets a Guaranteed Income caucus. Why not $20,000 a year for everybody? Why not $30,000? If we can print up money with impunity, why not do it? The Treasury can just keep printing the money. That is, until someone points out that the emperor has no clothes and that the dollar no longer has value.
You know what's really crazy when you talk about the pending collapse of the constitutional republic if we don't do something? I'll talk about what can be done because I never want to leave you with a problem without a solution in a moment. But you know how you've reached the point of no return and the point of maximum tragedy? When the Babylon Bee, a satire site like The Onion, it's a joke. It's meant to be satire. When the Babylon Bee headline is absolutely right and satire becomes real life. Here's an actual headline to Babylon Bee, not a joke. Americans excitedly anticipate getting paid with their own money. The Babylon Bee. It's a satire site. That's funny because it's true. We're all like, right. Yes, $600 checks. From who? From us. From us. Where did the money come from? Rand Paul asked a common sense question. Where'd the money come from? I got to start walking around with the show. Can we get a bigger studio? I really do. Old like Glenn Beck style when he was on Fox at 5 o'clock. We need to do that. I need to start walking around because I have too much energy to do this show sitting down. That's why I'm always rolling around. It drives Paula crazy. She's like, stop moving. You're ruining my shot. That's my fault, not hers. Where did the money come from? So, folks, in order to make this simple, not for the conservatives, I'm very sorry, but for the liberals who watch my show, who never seem to ever ask this question, Rand Paul asked, where did we get this money? $600 going to show up in your mailbox? Wow. Where did it come from? I don't know. Well, it comes from 3 spots. That money the government sends you can come from you via your taxes. Send the government $600 in taxes. They take a cut for themselves. They send you back your $600 plus what? $200 for them? Who knows? We can borrow it from foreign nations, which we've done. Say, oh, well, that doesn't sound too bad. You folks, they are not lending us this money. They are capped out. Foreign nations, notably Japan, China, and the UK, some of our biggest foreign bondholders, haven't lent even a fraction of what you're getting in the mail. So if it ain't coming from taxes, because the tax base every year is like $2.4 to $2.5 to $3 trillion in total taxes paid to the government, and we're spending $5 trillion, and the other $2 trillion isn't being made up by foreign governments, then you should ask yourself, if this bill was roughly $900 billion or another trillion, where did we get the money from if it didn't come from taxes and it didn't come from foreign borrowing? The answer is we're just printing it. Printing. They don't like monopoly money. Hey, here's $100. Write it on it. It's called counterfeiting when you do it. When the government does it, it's called stimulus. Why is it when you do it, it's a federal crime? But when the government does it, again, it's called Stimulus.
You just heard Dan Bongino.